Welcome back. This is Franklin from Ask Franklin YouTube channel, and we are coming back now to our second part series of Perl um, CGI script with Abyss web server. We've already installed Abyss web server and did the configuration earlier, so we'll be going ahead now and going through the second part of this. So we just started our Abyss server here. You can see it's at the bottom with this icon. It's starting up now, and it started to boot up. I'm just going to show you the other parts of this Perl, Perl CGI script application that we have been writing. And while you were away, I just went ahead and complete the code in completing this series. This is the introduction to the launch page of the script, and I'm using a domain username, or any name we do. Just use any name we do. Actually, you could use John or any name we do, and I'll show you here the password I use with a regular expression, and this will show us to log in. Yep, successfully we've logged in, and it's taking us to the second form. And like I said, this is a three form CGI script, and I'll just take you through the code on how this was written. Okay, in the beginning of, just to explain line by line, as you know, this is the shebang command telling the script that a Perl script is coming for processing. We're using strict here to make sure to continue to use to catch the problems. This will catch any problem, and we're using warnings for local debugging, but this will not be advisable to be used on a live server. Here we're using cgi.pm function. Is a built-in Perl function, so we're formatting it with pretty standard. Pretty here forces sensible formatting of the HTML output, and we're printing out the header and the site name and the contact, which is our website, and you could subscribe. And down there we just initialize some form feeds in an arrays of form title, in quote word first and second third form is the name we give each of our form. And we have our buttons here with a caption of start, and the second button in our second form is with the caption of show second, and our third form is the caption of show third. And we went ahead here declaring a variable which we give a param function in Perl, and this will take an argument of the next, or it will go to start. What we should just explain here in details what we are doing here. And we're using the MVC framework modem view controller, and we're passing our button pressed argument to our controller subroutine. So just to explain what we've done here, we decide what the program must do based on queries about data being sent with the URL that's called the program. We use the param, like you see here, param function to examine the values coming in. So if param is false, then there are no incoming data. So this is the first call to the program. Otherwise, the data passed can tell you what the program should do next. So this param will take the value, will be the value that is passed from form to form, if you can understand what I mean by that. A good way to check what is happening is to ensure that to ensure sorry there something just skipped me, is to ensure all submit button have all the same name. So we're using our nest for our submit button. So if the submit button we have a nest value in all the names, as the application can only be run either when the user enters the URL to call it up, in which case param will be false here, or as there is no value coming in, so each submit button can have a different caption that can tell what the user is doing. So this is why we're using this caption for each of the button caption. So this will tell the application what the user is doing. So if there are no data incoming, a param is false, then present the user with the first form. So the form will be this, the first form, when there is no data. And if there are data, then use that data to determine what stage the user is at with the application. Yes, and so this is the second form. So this will determine what decision the user has made. So if the user is on the second form and an event has been triggered by pressing the what argument is passed the next value on the param button, and if it's okay, the output then output the next form that is correct form. But if is the value in it is not okay, then we show the same form with the errors and warnings. So compile all the problems, store it on this arrays of problems and warnings, and we show it to the users again. And then we went ahead, um, subroutine, just to explain how we arrange our subroutine. We are arranging all the subroutines so to know what position the user is at, and this uh, problem subroutine we should have an argument to know what position problem occurred, and to display specific message to the user and highlight problem with field labels in red. So we go into the our main form here, which this subroutine we first use the modem view control to handle this. The controller is this main subroutine, the controller. Just to explain our MVC model view control in details here. The model handles the application domain data and access to that data, i.e. who is logged in. So that's what the model in this framework does. The view section of the code that is the section of the code that can generate the screens the user sees. This is a combination of HTML and CSS, which is at the bottom of this page, the widgets, and the controller is what we are looking at. This validates users input. The controller here, our controller subroutine, just to show you. Our controller subroutine validates users inputs, updates and queries the data model, and tells the view section what next page the user should see. It has access to the data and the form the user last submitted. So in this application, the model is the data used by the application, e.g. username and password, which we passed to our parameters here. The username and the password is passed to our build form. Here our find problem data subroutine. So we passed it to data1 and data2, username and password. And the view refers to the manner in which the data are displayed on the form, and the controller is the code that deals with the decision made about which forms to be displayed next. The first step is to print out the HTML header, which we've done, and find problem. So we've find problem after our controller subroutine. Our find problem is our next subroutine. We using find problem here. Yeah, just made typo error. Yeah, find problem, and our first form is to get form to check the form to check what problem occurred, and then we have our um, arrays of get the position of the problem and the warning of the problem. And here we using these font colors, giving the font and giving a font color of red. So this red variable we're passing it to highlight each time the problem was found, to highlight it to the red color, the value, the feed name of the problem, to highlight it to the red color. So when the form is on 0 and the param function, and if there is this validation, we check if the data is not, if it's blank or is empty data that was passed in. So redisplay that data to the user with the what was the error, and highlight the feed name with red. In this name is either username, and if it's the password feed that was the problem, highlight it with red as well. And so we go to show you the build form, our build form subroutine, which is the one just above. Yeah, our build form subroutine outputs, this outputs the HTML for the heading on the form, including the form title, output the list of warning message, this, and output the HTML to start a HTML form object, which it does here, print header for HTML form object, and as well then ask the prepared feed color subroutine, which is this, and we calling the hash here, the hash feed colors, and this is the feed of the value, the feed that we store the hash. The hash, if you understand in Perl, is um, a multi-dimensional array, that is, which stores an array and it values pairs in sequence. That is arrays and the value pairs, arrays and the value pairs. That is the attribute and the value pairs in an array, an arrays of arrays. So we store that in our feed colors hash, which we store all our error and warnings. And then for each of the form labels, and call the particular subroutine build to display the form required. And here we reference to the arrays of the feed names, site name to appear on the title, which is the form title form, the site name, and the feed colors reference to the arrays of feed names. Check. So here we've also checking if problem, if there's a problem, or where the warnings occurs. So for each of the warning, we printing them out, store them for each of our warnings in our warnings arrays, print each warning in the paragraph about output it on screen, the warning. So here we're checking in the first instance of the form when the form is displayed. So we're printing start form, the method that is the form widget. The method is to get the form widget, And if there is a problem, if the problem is with the password, use the param function to display the password and clears the password. Clean the password input field and clears it. And if they rebuild form again, rebuild the form login with all the feed colors stored in the hash, or display it to the user. And same thing if the form is on the second form. As you know, arrays start on 0 and 1 will be our second position, our second element on the array. So if the and which will be second, and if the form is on second position, we also print the start of the form and build the form with if there are errors, build the error feeds as well. Same thing as well for the third position of the form, which will be the second in our elements, array elements, and print the start of the form, gets the feed name, gets the method, and print the feed names if there are errors or warnings on it, and then print the end of the form and print the footer along with the site name and form title with it and contact. So here we've already finished with the subroutine of build form. That's subroutine of build form. Just the feed names. We populated this feed name, which is also an array of arrays. So we're using the username is the first form feed name. The second form feed name will be day, month, and year, and the third form feed name will be leap year. And we'll just go ahead and show you the what we've been doing so far, where we find the problem. So we start now with the problem, find problem, where the problem occurred. So we start the form with the form to get the form position and the arrays of where the problem the reference of where the problem occurred, and reference of where the on the warnings of the problem was stored. So we get those position and the font color of what we want to display as outputs to the user when there is error on any of our feeds name. So this is what we've just explained earlier, and here just to explain to you, I've used, so if the data is blank, this is just a dummy validation. So if the data is blank, we show this, output this to the user with the feed name highlighted in red and along with the feed name. And here I'm using regular expression to check, to validate the password feed. So the password feed is a match of the letter FA irrespective of casing. It will accept uppercase FA or lowercase FA. So it display to us if either FA or any, if is not is a sequence of these characters, this alphabet, then it give us these warnings as well. And then as well, we also use a simple validation here on the second form, since we are displaying the day of the month and the months of the year and the year in particular. So like we know, on a leap year, February is 29 months, and on a regular year is 28 days. So our validation here is if day is greater than 29 and the month is second, which is February, so display this error. Maximum days in February is 29, and this one the user where the feed name occurred, display the feed name with red, and the value and the month. So that's for that. And on the third form, there isn't any validation yet, and return after, at the end of the routine, return the value, the scalar uh, of the where the problem reference occurred and the warnings to that problem. So print it to the user. print out this output, return it to the user. So, and also we have our next subroutine, which is print header, and it's also just showing us the site name, which we already declared. We could have our site name here, and we have our site name, Perl CGI script, and print header. We just print header. We print this on screen to us. Print this starts HTML widget with a site name, and print horizontal rule. Heading 1, the site name, and print an horizontal rule to separate it, to just for formatting, to format it properly. And then the footer as well, and the footer prints horizontal rule, paragraph, and the site name and contacts, just basic HTML stuff. And we have another subroutine here, make submit button, and the button caption is what will be passing on as next, and the tab index of the tab on the feed. And then so to return this submit, the next value that will be passing to each caption, so that we recognize, it will be easier to know what position the user of this application is currently at. So just for that, we'll stop this second series at this stage, and we'll just run this on the browser to show you what the little we've explained so far. If we have to type in, and yep, we have arrived at this script, and this is the horizontal rule we were explaining about earlier, and this is the two horizontal rule. We have our webmaster send mail web formatted here for us. We have our show second. If we were to click here, and displays the error and the warning, that because these two values are empty and is required to progress to the second stage of this form. And if we were to enter any data here and submit state, it shows us the password field as well, and is highlighted in red. That's the this field is also required. So, and if we enter any other alphabet, no, it will not accept that, only FA, and enter. Yep, we're in second form. So that's what we've done so far, and we'll just go ahead now in the third part of this series to conclude this series and explain to you further on how to go from this second form and to the third form, and how we're able to format the HTML output of our form widget. Thank you for watching, and to get access to and privilege to the source code of this application, and to further learn more about Perl CGI script, you should subscribe to our newsletter, where we give everything freely, and our support at fa-group.ie/subscribe, fa-group.ie/subscribe. And thank you for watching our video, and hope to see you very soon in the concluding part of this series. Bye for now.